you ever felt like life is testing you beyond your limits? Like every step you take, something pulls you back, pushing you deeper into doubt and darkness? This video uncovers the intense journey of those who feel called to a higher purpose, only to be met with relentless challenges that threaten to break them. But what if these struggles are not signs of weakness, but tests designed to awaken a strength and clarity you never knew you had? Through each powerful moment, this video will show you the path from doubt to discovery, from despair to resilience. You'll see how even in the darkest times, a spark of hope can ignite a fire within that changes everything. Stay with us to learn how these battles can transform you into the person you were meant to become. If you're feeling lost, facing overwhelming obstacles, or questioning your purpose, this story is for you. Let it guide you, inspire you, and show you that no matter how deep the darkness, there's always a way back to the light. Imagine a quiet, unassuming child born into a world that never seemed to fit. Even from a young age, there was a glimmer in their eyes, a light that seemed to reach beyond this world. While other children were absorbed in play, laughter, and the innocence of childhood, this one was different. They felt things more deeply, sensed things unseen. They noticed the sadness hidden behind smiles, heard the quiet in the noise, and could feel a pull, like a hidden compass pointing them toward something greater. As they grew, the feeling only intensified. While others around them chased after routine dreams, success, approval, comfort, they felt called to something beyond their grasp, something they couldn't yet define. But it was powerful. It stirred within them like a fire, refusing to die, even when life tried to smother it with responsibilities, doubts, and questions. The child couldn't explain it, yet the sense of purpose was so vivid it became almost tangible. They would often stare up at the stars, wondering if they too had been marked by something divine, a celestial purpose hidden in plain sight, waiting to be revealed. In moments of silence, whispers would arise within them, gentle but unwavering, telling them they were meant for something more. A journey beyond comfort. A path that would test every fiber of their being. They were chosen. And even before understanding what that truly meant, the child knew one thing. This calling, this hidden purpose, was more than just a feeling. It was a destiny woven into the very fabric of their existence. And though the road ahead was still dark and unknown, a quiet certainty took root in their heart. The journey had already begun. The path of the chosen one is rarely clear, and for this soul, the journey took an unexpected turn. It began innocently, almost imperceptibly, like a shadow creeping at the edges of their light. It wasn't some monstrous figure or horrific sight. It was a quiet whisper, a voice so soft it felt like their own thoughts. One evening, as they sat alone, reflecting on their purpose, it came. A question, simple and small, yet sharp as a dagger. Asterisk, what if you're not really meant for this? What if you're just fooling yourself? Asterisk, the words slithered into their mind, and for a moment, they shivered. But they brushed it off. Surely everyone feels doubt, right? But as the days passed, the whispers grew bolder. Each time they tried to focus, to connect with that powerful sense of purpose, there it was again. The voice would find them in their quietest moments, sowing seeds of confusion and fear. It would remind them of past failures, replay every mistake, every regret, until those memories felt larger than the calling itself. If you were really chosen, it sneered, asterisk, wouldn't you be stronger, braver? Wouldn't you have all the answers? Asterisk. This voice knew exactly where to strike. It knew every hidden insecurity, every unspoken fear, and it played them like a dark melody. And just as they began to push back, to remember their purpose, the voice shifted, transforming from doubt to seduction. It offered them easier paths, safer roads, comfort over struggle. Asterisk, why not just live like everyone else? Asterisk, it suggested. Asterisk, why take on this burden when life can be simple, enjoyable, without all this sacrifice? Asterisk, it was no longer just a whisper, it was a presence, lingering around every choice, challenging every belief, testing every ounce of faith they had. And so, the battle began. A quiet war waged within their own heart, as the devil's whispers coiled tighter around their soul, determined to choke out the light before it had a chance to fully shine. With the whispers firmly rooted in their mind, doubt began to weave itself into every corner of their thoughts. Days that once began with purpose now felt heavy, as if a weight had settled on their chest, tightening each time they dared to believe in themselves. Simple tasks seemed monumental, and the fire that once blazed with conviction now flickered, faint and unsure. They tried to push the doubt away, burying it beneath routines, distractions, and reassurances. But it was relentless. It seeped into everything, a silent force questioning every decision, every step. When they looked in the mirror, they no longer saw the spark of the chosen one staring back at them. Instead, they saw shadows of hesitation, layers of fear that had never been there before. A voice echoed in their mind, cold and biting. Asterisk, you're not good enough. You never were. Asterisk. Each attempt to reignite their belief was met with resistance. The memories of past failures resurfaced in vivid detail, as if some hidden part of them was forcing them to relive every stumble, every missed opportunity, every time they'd fallen short. Friends and family who once offered encouragement now felt like silent judges, their well-meaning words twisted by the doubt lurking in the chosen one's heart. Even the idea of confiding in someone felt impossible. How could they admit to this struggle when they had been so certain of their calling? Every night, they lay awake, wrestling with these feelings, their mind filled with questions that had no easy answers. Asterisk, why me? Am I truly worthy? Or am I just another fool, chasing a dream too big for my hands to hold? Asterisk, these questions gnawed at them, relentless and unyielding, a constant reminder of their perceived inadequacies. It was as if the light within them, that undeniable sense of purpose, was slowly dimming, suffocated by the very doubts they could not shake. And with each passing day, a painful realization grew. The devil's voice wasn't just around them, it had taken root inside. The battle wasn't just against an external force anymore, it was against themselves, against the doubt that threatened to consume them from within. As the doubt tightened its grip, the chosen one began to drift away from everything and everyone that had once anchored them. Friends and family who had once been sources of strength now felt distant, their voices muffled, their warmth out of reach. It was as if an invisible wall had risen between them, and no matter how much they tried to connect, the wall only grew thicker, colder. They stopped seeking the wisdom of mentors, stopped confiding in those they trusted. The places they once visited for peace, a quiet corner in nature, a small sanctuary where they had always felt safe, no longer brought the same solace. Instead, those places felt hollow, stripped of the meaning they once held. They began to wonder if the peace they'd felt before had been an illusion, a comforting lie they'd told themselves to hide from the truth of their unworthiness. Even their connection to something greater, a force, a guiding presence, the faith they had clung to, felt distant. Prayers went unanswered, meditations brought no clarity. Where there had once been a divine warmth, there was now an echoing silence that only served to deepen the loneliness in their heart. They tried to hold on, whispering words of hope into the darkness, but each attempt seemed to fade into nothing, swallowed by an emptiness they couldn't fill. As the days wore on, the chosen one withdrew further, isolating themselves, pulling away from anything that might remind them of who they once were. They watched as friends and loved ones continued with their lives, unaware of the battle raging within. To them, everything appeared normal. But the chosen one knew the truth. They were drifting, lost in a void where the light of purpose was all but extinguished. The world around them seemed muted, colorless, as if the very fabric of life had dulled. Now, in the quietest hours, they could hear only one voice, the voice of doubt, whispering that they were alone, that their calling had been a mistake, that they were no longer worthy of the path they once believed they were meant to walk. And so, isolated from everything and everyone, they drifted further into the darkness, unaware of how close they were to the edge of despair. In this newfound isolation, a strange comfort began to creep in. Without the warmth of companionship or the solace of purpose, the chosen one found themselves slipping into distractions that dulled the ache inside. It started small, a passing indulgence here, a careless decision there, but before long these moments grew into habits and the habits grew into chains. They turned to anything that could take their mind off the emptiness. Hours were lost in meaningless pursuits, fleeting pleasures that never truly satisfied but kept the darkness at bay, even if just for a moment. Nights stretched long, filled with things that numbed the mind and quieted the heart's desperate calls to remember. Work, mindless entertainment, superficial connections. Each one became a temporary escape, a way to forget the painful whispers that had lodged themselves deep in their soul. And in these moments of distraction, the devil's whispers found new ways to twist themselves around the chosen one's thoughts. Asterisk, see? Asterisk, the voice taunted. Asterisk, this is easier. This is comfortable. Why struggle with purpose when you can have peace in just letting go? Asterisk, the allure of a simpler, painless existence became a siren song that pulled them further from the path they had once cherished. They found themselves drawn to the ordinary lives of those around them, people who seemed content, unburdened by a calling, free from the struggle that had consumed them. For the first time, they questioned whether a life without meaning, without purpose, might be easier. A life of no expectation, no weight of destiny pressing on their shoulders. Just living, breathing, drifting along with no fight, no cause, no journey to test the limits of their spirit. What once felt like weakness or surrender began to look like freedom. And as they slipped further into these distractions, they felt a new kind of relief. The relief of no longer reaching for a purpose they could no longer see. It was as though they were willingly letting themselves be led astray, lulled into a comfortable darkness where ambition faded, and the pull of destiny was but a distant memory. Days bled into weeks, and the chosen one drifted deeper into this quiet resignation, a life dulled of purpose and devoid of the ache of striving. Yet, underneath the numbness, something fragile still flickered, a small, persistent ember of their former self, a faint reminder of the calling that had once set their soul on fire. But the devil wasn't finished. When the chosen one began to sense that faint stirring of hope, the darkness within seized the opportunity to strike where it would hurt most. Suddenly, failures from the past flooded back with new force, their mistakes replaying in cruel detail. It was as if every regret, every stumble, every moment of weakness had gathered to form a relentless assault. They couldn't look anywhere, couldn't escape their own mind without being reminded of everything they'd ever done wrong. Asterisk, you really thought you were chosen? Asterisk, the voice sneered, louder and more vicious than ever. Asterisk, look at you. Look at what you've become. You're weak, faithless, empty. No chosen one would ever end up here. Asterisk. Each word cut deeper than the last, and the chosen one felt their heart splinter piece by piece. It was as if the devil had taken their darkest insecurities and laid them bare, one after another, until nothing of their original confidence remained. They questioned every moment of clarity they had once believed in, every choice that had led them here. Maybe I was never called, they thought bitterly. Asterisk, maybe this was all a lie, a cruel illusion. Asterisk. What had once been a path paved with purpose and light was now a memory, obscured by doubt and self-loathing. They could no longer recognize themselves in the mirror. The fire, the light, the undeniable conviction, all of it had withered into ashes. And with each passing day, they felt their faith erode further, replaced by a cold certainty that they had been wrong all along. It was as though the last remaining hope within them had been extinguished, leaving only an emptiness where their purpose had once lived. And as the darkness closed in, the chosen one felt a deep, hollow void, a painful awareness that they had fallen far from the path, perhaps too far to ever find their way back. The night was darker than ever, a suffocating blackness that pressed against the chosen one's spirit, relentless and unyielding. Alone in the silence, they lay awake, feeling the weight of every regret, every moment they had let their faith slip through their fingers. There was no comfort left in the shadows, no familiar voice to soothe the anguish rising within them. All that remained was an agonizing emptiness, a gnawing sense that they had somehow lost everything that once defined them. They reached inward, grasping desperately for any trace of that former fire, some spark that might remind them of who they were. But each attempt felt hollow, as if the light they had once known was a distant memory, slipping further from reach with every second. They tried to pray, to call out for guidance, for something, anything, that might pull them back from the brink. But the words felt foreign, echoing back as if mocking their lack of conviction. The silence around them became deafening, a reminder that they were utterly alone. In that moment, a terrifying realization settled over them. This wasn't just a temporary struggle, this was something deeper, a descent into a darkness so profound it felt alive, pulsating with malice. They had heard of this place before, the dark night of the soul, the abyss that tests not just faith but every fiber of one's being. And here they were, staring into its depths, feeling its cold breath against their spirit, a silent invitation to surrender. Memories flooded back, images of the journey they had once cherished, the moments of courage, the glimpses of divine purpose that had felt so real. But now, those memories seemed distant, like faint stars barely piercing the night. They wondered if those moments had ever been real or if they had simply been fragments of a dream, illusions created to lead them into this torment. A part of them longed to give in, to let the darkness consume them, to slip into the numbness that would end this unbearable ache. But another part, small and nearly silenced, held on, trembling, fragile, yet alive. And in that dark night, where despair met a whisper of resistance, the chosen one felt the faintest pull. It was a choice, a final choice, between surrendering to the void or holding on, however hopelessly, to the last shred of light left within them. For in the heart of that blackness, something strange happened. Amidst the torment and doubt, they felt the flicker of a question, quiet but insistent. Could this be the beginning of something more? And though they were unsure, though the darkness still loomed large, a spark had ignited, small, but enough to make them hesitate, enough to make them wonder if perhaps, just perhaps, the journey wasn't over yet. As the chosen one lingered on the edge of surrender, something unexpected shattered the silence. It was subtle at first, a gentle touch on their shoulder, a single word spoken with kindness, or a warm smile from a stranger that reached beyond the surface. It wasn't much, but it was enough to pierce the darkness, a glimmer of humanity that stirred something long dormant within them. That faint spark of hope they'd almost abandoned began to flicker, faint yet steady as if answering some hidden call. Days passed and more of these small moments found them. A song playing from a passing car that seemed to speak directly to their pain. A passage in a worn book, left open on a bench, whispering of strength through trials. A quiet sunset, where the fading light painted the sky in colors that seemed to promise a dawn beyond the darkness. These were simple things, fleeting, yet each one seemed to reach into the depths of their soul, gently nudging them to look up, to see the world beyond their despair. And then one day the chosen one met someone, a stranger, yet familiar in the way only kindred spirits can be. This person too had eyes that held shadows, scars hidden beneath a soft, understanding smile. They spoke briefly, yet their words were like a balm, soothing wounds that the chosen one had kept hidden even from themselves. They shared their own story of loss, of descent, of finding hope when all seemed lost. Their words resonated deeply, as if speaking directly to the pain the chosen one had thought was theirs alone. This encounter marked a shift. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, the chosen one didn't feel alone. In the quiet warmth of that stranger's story, they began to see that the darkness they had faced wasn't a mark of weakness, but a part of the journey. The struggles, the doubts, the nights they had spent questioning everything, they were not signs of failure. They were, in some mysterious way, part of the path itself, a crucible that had reshaped them, refined them, prepared them for something beyond their understanding. A quiet strength began to take root in their heart. Each small moment of kindness, each gentle reminder of beauty and resilience, became like stepping stones leading them back toward the light. The darkness no longer felt impenetrable. It became a space through which they had passed, a journey that had marked them but not broken them. And as they took these small, hesitant steps forward, the chosen one felt something powerful stirring within, as if they were awakening slowly to a truth they had once known. This was not an end. It was a beginning. And for the first time in a long time, they dared to hope, dared to believe that perhaps their purpose, their calling, had been waiting for them all along, just beyond the edge of despair. With each passing day, the chosen one's steps grew stronger, their hearts steadier, as they walked a path that was now familiar yet filled with new meaning. The darkness no longer loomed as a threat but as a reminder of the strength they had forged within it. Determined to reclaim the life and purpose they had once cherished, they began confronting the shadows that had haunted them. Slowly, they revisited the places they had once abandoned, those corners of their heart that the darkness had hidden from them, the dreams and ambitions they'd left behind. It was not an easy journey. Every step was met with memories that whispered of doubt, with echoes of the pain they had endured. But something had changed within them. The doubt, once paralyzing, was now a test of resilience. Where it had once sapped their spirit, it now became a challenge they faced head-on. "I am stronger than this," they told themselves even in the moments when they felt anything but. They had come to understand that courage was not the absence of fear, but the decision to keep moving despite it. They sought out the mentors they had avoided, returning to the teachings they'd once leaned on. This time, they approached these sources of wisdom with new eyes, able to see beyond the surface, understanding lessons they hadn't grasped before. They rekindled friendships, reconnecting with people who reminded them of their strength and shared stories that reaffirmed their purpose. And in their moments of solitude, where once they had found only silence, they now found a quiet presence, an inner voice of assurance that had been buried beneath the noise of doubt. The distractions that had once dulled their pain no longer held any appeal. They let go of these fleeting pleasures, choosing instead to nourish the calling within them. The chosen one was no longer running from their purpose. They were running toward it. With every step, they felt themselves reclaiming the light they had thought was lost, a light that was now brighter, stronger, forged through trial and tempered by resilience. And then one day they stood at the edge of everything they had once feared. The doubts, the shadows, the relentless questions, they were all there, still lingering, but they no longer controlled them. The chosen one had come to understand that their purpose was not a single destination, not something fragile that could be stolen or broken. It was a journey, a path that would twist and turn, but one they now walked with a strength that could not be shaken. In that moment they realized, the calling had never truly left them. It had simply waited patiently for them to find their way back, stronger and more determined than ever. And as they took a deep breath, feeling the fullness of their spirit restored, they stepped forward, ready to face whatever lay ahead, not as a wounded soul but as one who had emerged from darkness with a light that could never again be extinguished. The day finally arrived when the chosen one stood before the path that had once felt impossible. They could feel it in their bones. This was the moment they had been journeying toward, not just from the beginning of this trial, but from the very first whispers of purpose that had called to them. The journey that had broken them down to their very essence had also rebuilt them, stronger, clearer, and more connected to their spirit than ever before. As they took that first step forward, memories flooded their mind. Each hardship, each doubt, each night spent wrestling with shadows, it all felt like a lifetime ago, yet it pulsed within them like a heartbeat. They could see now that those moments had been the fires that forged them, the trials that tested their resilience and burned away every illusion, leaving only their truest self. They walked forward not in defiance of their past but because of it, carrying every scar, every wound, as a testament to the strength they had earned through pain. The world around them seemed more vivid, more alive than it ever had before. Colors were brighter, sounds more resonant, as if they were seeing life through new eyes. Each person they encountered felt like a part of a larger tapestry, threads connected by shared experiences of joy and pain. And they realized, with a deep, humbling gratitude, that their journey was not just about them. It was part of something vast and beautiful, a purpose that stretched beyond their own life, connecting them to countless others who had faced their own darkness and emerged changed. They could feel that divine presence within them, no longer faint and elusive but as real as the ground beneath their feet. It wasn't something outside of them, it was part of who they were, a force that had been with them every step of the way, even when they had doubted its very existence. And in that realization they felt a surge of peace, a certainty that whatever challenges lay ahead, they were no longer alone. The chosen one took a deep breath, feeling the fullness of their journey settle within. Every doubt, every trial, every moment of despair had led to this, the reawakening of their purpose, a purpose that no shadow could ever dim again. They were ready to embrace their calling with an open heart, to walk a path that would challenge them, yes, but one that would also fulfill them in ways they hadn't dared to dream. And so, with a soul unbreakable and a heart ablaze, they stepped forward, not just as one who had been tested, but as one who had been transformed. The world stretched before them, vast and unknown, but now it was filled with the promise of purpose. And they knew, with a certainty as unshakable as the mountains, that they were finally, truly home.